Hello, it's Refresh, and this is the second of two pre-release videos I'm going to be doing for Core Set 2021. Core Set 2021 was released in the middle of the pandemic, and so the pre-release was canceled, but you can still purchase these pre-release packs, and so that's what I did. And a couple years later, I will be opening this and building two sealed decks for a pre-release showdown between this and the other pack that I opened. You can check the description box for links to the other deck and the game that I'm going to play. Let's go ahead and open this up and see what we have inside. Life and Times Teferi, building a pre-release deck. Our promo card is an Idol of Endurance. We have a code that we can use for MTG Arena, a deck divider, and 6 packs. Let's go ahead and open these up and see what kind of deck we can build. Alright, we have a Knight token, Windscarred Crag, Battery Ked, Planeswalker, a Pestilent Haze, a Meteorite, a Shipwrecked Dowser, Scorching Dragonfire, Forgotten Sentinel, Mind Rot, Rookie Mistake, Daybreak Charger, Goblin Arsonist, Rise Again, Portcullis Vine, Concordia Pegasus, Bone Pit Brute, a tip card, a Forest, Finishing Blow in shiny foil, a Solemn Simulacrum, Canopy Stalker, Conclave Mentor, Heartfire Immolator, Sabertooth Mauler, Shock, Roaming Ghostlight, Infernal Scarring, Garrick's Gorehorn, Fetid Imp, Spined Megalodon, Rambunctious Mutt, and Burnbright. Soldier Token, Dismal Backwater, Chandra's Incinerator, Bad Deal, Vryn Wingmare, Burlfist Oak, Infernal Scarring, Bazri's Acolyte, Gnarled Sage, Turret Ogre, Fetid Imp, Ornery Dilophosaur, Vidalian Arcanist, Alpine Watchdog, Crash Through, and a Keen Glide Master. And we have another tip card, a Mountain, Rada Heart of Keld, Unleash Fury, Direfleet Warmonger, a Teferi's Tutelage with a fancy treatment, Mind Rot, Rookie Mistake, Daybreak Charger, Goblin Arsonist, Short Sword, Cetizen Training, Village Rites, Keen Glide Master, Staunch Shield Mate, and Bone Pit Brute. We have a Cat token, Scoured Barrens, Chandra's Incinerator with a fancy treatment, Indulging Patrician, Malefic Scythe, Conclave Mentor, Prismite, Llanowar Visionary, Masked Blackguard, Fury of the Bitten, Frost Breath, Walking Corpse, Pride Malkin, Feet of Resistance, Goblin Wizardry, and a Spined Megalodon. And we have a Goblin Wizard token, a Fancy Looking Swamp, Nyambi Esteemed Speaker, Vryn Wingmare, Kitesail Freebirder, Shipwrecked Dowser, Forgotten Sentinel, Scorching Dragonfire, Mind Rot, Rookie Mistake, Daybreak Charger, Gloom Sower, Drowsing Pteranodon, Vidalian Arcanist, Alpine Watchdog, and Crash Through. Alright, let's take a look at each of the colors. In white we have an Alpine Watchdog, which is, I guess, like better than a Glory Seeker. A Daybreak Charger, which I think may be a little bit better than the Watchdog. Vryn Wingmare, which is a 3-mana 2/1. The non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast, can be a hindrance depending on what we're trying to do. Like for example, Feet of Resistance I think is a pretty good card here. But I think as a 2/1 flyer for 3, it's okay. Staunch Shieldmate I do not want to play. We have another Daybreak Charger. Another Alpine Watchdog. We have a Bazri's Acolyte, which I do like. It does put counters on things. We have a second Wingmare for a little bit more air support. Rambunctious Mutt, I think, comes in on the sideboard if we need it. Concordia Pegasus, I would play if I have to. We have another Daybreak Charger, so this can be very aggressive. We have Battery Cat, which puts counters on things, makes them aggressive, and then we can create tokens with his -2. So pretty strong. I think generally a Planeswalker is great value, and so I would gladly play him. And this seems alright, aggressive, not amazing, but Battery does make me want to play white. We also have an Idol of Endurance, which basically lets you get your cards back from your graveyard and recast them. So that's kind of a card draw option. Blue gets you a Vidalian Arcanist, which is just alright if you're in the spells deck. We have a Rookie Mistake, which I don't know if I want to play. Shipwreck Dowser can be pretty good, especially if it gets you back a good card. Spy and Megalodon is very expensive. I do not want to be casting a 7-drop without playing some sort of ramp deck, so that's out. I think Frost Rest can be okay, but again, it's got to be in the right deck. The Keen Glide Master can be okay. There's a way to get in with this at the end when you have nothing else to do, so that's fine. Teferi's Tutelage, I think, makes you want to play some kind of mill deck. If you can get milling, this is not bad, but you have to be able to draw a lot of cards. And so I don't know if this is going to work unless the rest of the cards really play into that. But it does have that cool border, so it makes me want to play it. I think this is probably not going to get played, though. We have another Keen Glide Master. And then another Vidalian Arcanist. Does not look good so far. Another Spy and Megalodon, which I don't want to play. Roman Ghostlight, I think maybe one of the better spells that we have. It's a 3/2 flyer that can bounce a non-spirit creature. That's probably good. We don't want another Rookie Mistake. And the second Shipwreck Dowser is nice, but blue is kind of short on most stuff, and we just have like Shipwreck Dowsers, Roman Ghostlight, and then just a bunch of junk. Teferi's Tutelage could work if the rest of the deck were built around it, but it's not. So that is that. In blue and white, if we play them, we do also get Nyambi Esteemed Speaker. That's a 2/1 flash, which is alright, and it bounces one of our creatures, so that's a thing. But that's pretty much all she is. I don't know that we're going to be playing blue and white just for her. Now let's take a look at black. There are a lot of cards in black. We have a Gloom Sower, which is very expensive. I do not think that we want to be playing a 7-drop again unless we have ramp, so that's out. Mind Rot, I don't know that we're going to play that much. Kai'Sa Freebooter is fine. It's a flyer 1/2 that can rip a card from your opponent's hand. Probably good enough. Walking Corpse, I don't want to play unless I get some sort of benefit out of it. Mass Blackguard is a little better because it's like bad removal if we need it. The Malefic Scythe, I think, can be okay, but it's not amazing. I guess it does enough damage, and if the creature's on a die, then it gets stronger, so it's probably good enough, but I don't know how much I want to play that. Village Rites can be pretty good. We can play that if there are enough things to sacrifice. Second Mind Rot will probably never see the deck. Fetid Imp can be alright. It's a nice defensive flyer. We have Infernal Scarring, which I don't really want to play, but I suppose there is a world where maybe that'll work. Bad Deal costs 6 mana and draw 2 cards, and opponent discards 2 cards, and each player loses 2 life. I mean, that's a huge card exchange, but the fact that it's 6 mana means that your opponent might not even have cards to discard, and so I don't know that that is worth it. We will keep that in mind if there's some sort of ramp that would get us to play Gloom Sower as well. We have another Fetid Imp, which is just alright. Another Infernal Scarring, which is not exciting. We have a Finishing Blow, which is a removal. It's shiny. I might play it. Rise Again, which you can use to get back one of the big cards, but I don't think that's really high in terms of this particular deck, because I don't have a way of getting that into the discard pile. Mind Rot, which is just fine, and Pestilent Haze, which is very much a sideboard card. So I think black has a lot of cards, but not a lot of good cards, and so I'm not really looking to play black here. Now, just so you know, if you're going to play black, we have the black and white option of adding the Indulging Patrician, which is a 1/4 lifelinker that drains your opponent if you gain 3 or more life this turn. We don't really have a lot of life gain going on, so I don't think that this is what we're looking for here. Now let's take a look at red. My crash through is very circumstantial. I think that we only want this in the right deck. Scorching Dragonfire is great. Goblin Wizardry can be alright. The fact that you can get the goblins with prowess at instant speed, I think makes it decent. Fury of the Bitten, I don't really want to be playing. Chandra's Incinerator is pretty boss. It can cost less if you deal damage to your opponent's face, and then it lets you burn your opponent's face and kill a creature while you're at it. You need spells that can do damage to your opponent's face for this to be good. But a 6/6 for 6 that can do that, it's not the worst thing in the world. We might play that, we'll see. Bone Pit Brute is kind of expensive, and it's okay, I think, if you really want to like try to crash in with a creature, but that's the top end that I wouldn't play over Chandra's Incinerator. We have a Goblin Arsonist, which is fine. Unleash Fury, which, I don't know, like maybe in the right deck this is a thing, but I don't know how much I'm going to be wanting to play that. Another card, Crash Through, which again is circumstantial. I like Turret Ogre. I think that it can do a decent amount of pain if it's in the right deck, and even if not, it's a 4/3 with reach. Sneaky reach, that is fine. We have another Chandra's Incinerator, which is fun. Burn Bright, which I think would work if we're in a very aggressive deck, but I don't know that this is a deck. Shock, which is one of the few ways of getting into my opponent's face, and that does damage, so that's something. I like the Heartfire Emulator. This is pretty cool. It gets prowess, so it pumps when you cast non-creature spells, and then you can sack it to kill another thing, so that's probably the next best card outside of these removal spells. We have another Bone Pit Brute, which I'm not excited about. Another Goblin Arsonist, which is just fine. Another Scorching Dragonfire. So we have a lot of red cards. Red would get us Scorching Dragonfire, Shock, Heartfire Immolator, and then all of these other dudes. We have double Chandra's Incinerator, but we don't have a lot of ways of doing non-combat damage, and so it's not really the most exciting thing in the world. If we played red, we could marry it with white with a Windscarred Crag, which is not bad. And then we could match it with black to get the Direfleet Warmonger, but as we saw, black isn't that exciting either, and so I think I'm more likely to play red than black, and I'm not really likely to play either that much. Alright, let's take a look at green. So with green, we get a Drowsing Pteranodon, which is a decent body. If you can get some counters going, then it can be an even better body. The Pride Malkin teams well with Drowsing Pteranodon. I think these are a good team together. Llanowar Visionary, I don't know, a 3-mana 2/2 that draws you a card is probably pretty good. And then it can ramp, so that's not bad. I like Cetizen Training as a way to draw an additional card as well. I do not like Ordinary Dilophosaur. I think that it is kind of expensive, and you want 4 power greater to do something with that, which is not that great. The Gnarled Sage, I think, is just okay. Again, like the Dilophosaur, I'm not really looking forward to playing that. I think the Brute can be okay if you're drawing cards. I don't know that I have a deck that is all about card draw. I don't like the Gorehorn that much. The Mauler, I think, is okay as well, but it needs to grow to be worth it, and you have to have creatures dying for that to happen, so I don't know, if maybe in the right deck with removal, that would be alright. Canopy Stalker seems okay. That's a way to get creatures to die, and then it probably trades at some point, but it's not exciting. And then the Portcullis Vine is a way to draw cards and can hold off some attackers for a little while. That is fine, I think. It may be even better than some of these other uncommons. In this particular setup here, of these cards, we don't really have that much that's exciting here. We have a Visionary, Cetizen Training, Pride Malkin, Drowsing Pteranodon, and green is really thin. But if we play green and with white, we could get these Conclave Mentors, which add even more counters, which isn't really that bad. And then you can gain life. It's an option here. We can also play green and red together and get Radha, Heart of Keld, which is a pretty cool spell here. Let's just look at the top card of the library at any time. You can play lands from the top of your library. The fact that Radha is a 3/3 first striker on the attack is probably the best part. And then she's strong, like she can get +X, where X is the number of lands you control. So that is pretty cool. And so I think Radha is probably a strong card. It's between Radha and Basri that's sort of driving this. So I think there's going to be some combination of red, green, and white, but I'm not sure which combination. Adding into all this, we have a few additional spells. We're going to play the Solemn Simulacrum for sure, just because it gets us a basic land and then it can draw us a card. So it's like getting 2 cards for 1. And that's probably worth it. Maybe an argument for the Meteorite as well for fixing if we're going to play multiple colors here. And then the Prismite can also possibly make its way in. Not really interested in the Forgotten Sentinels, although they do have 4 power to trigger off those 4 power plus abilities if we need them. And then Short Sword. These could possibly see play here, and I think the real question is, which are going to be the base 2 colors, and then what am I splashing? And so let's go ahead and take a look at what kind of deck we can build here. We are out of black and blue, and we don't really have a good way to splash them anyways, so let's go ahead and remove these from contention. And consequently, we're also going to remove all of the cards that are not in these 3 colors as well. So these are all out. And then we're going to see what kind of deck we can build. All right. I'm going to start with white because we have Basri. I don't think I want to play either of these, so we'll put them on the side. This is a nice aggressive curve here. We also have the Idol of Endurance as a type of card draw. I think we will consider playing this. Let's try it with red first, because red is the more numerous of our cards here. I don't think I'm going to be playing any of these. I guess the Boneprint Boots are possible, but I almost think that this is not what we're interested in here. In terms of Chandra Incinerator abilities, we have the Turret Ogres, the Goblin Arsonists, the Heartfire Immolator, the Shock as ways of doing non-combat damage. It looks like we're 1 card short, and so I'd have to play something else. Let's see what happens when we use green instead, because this is nice and aggressive, but it isn't inspiring. We're definitely playing the Solemn Simulacrum. Green is a little bit short as well. If we add a little red, then we can splash in a few other cards. How many ways do I have of adding counters? I have the Feat of Resistance, the Pride Malkin, and Bazzi's Acolyte. Those are 3 ways of adding counters. So the Conclave Mentors don't do a ton, because that just means we add 2 counters each, and there's no other way of getting additional counters here. So it's not that great. We don't get much of the +4 benefits here. I guess the Sabertooth Mauler can give himself their own counters. We're not doing that much of drawing of extra cards, so the Gnarled Sage isn't as good here either. I think the red and white base is probably a little stronger, and maybe we can splash for Radha using the Solemn Simulacrum. I think we can use Burn Bright in this deck because it is so aggressive. We'll splash in Radha, maybe a Meteorite. Then we have the Simulacrum grabbing a land as one way of getting green lands, and then a Meteorite as another means of fixing. I don't know that the Incinerators are going to make the cut here, because we're not doing a lot of direct damage. I guess with the Turret Ogre and the Meteorite and the Heartfire Immolator and the Shock, there's some capacity to do a little extra damage here. But I'm kind of wondering if maybe I'm supposed to cut the Incinerators and just try to go low to the ground and, I guess, aggressive as possible, and try to take out my opponent before they're able to really do anything. So let's cut these. We're just trying to flood the board and then smash with like a Burn Bright. So we cut a few other things here. I think the Meteorite can go. It's probably too slow. And because we're such a low curve, we can probably actually cut a land. So we'll go 16 lands here. And then we have 9 spells and 15 creatures. And so this is, I think, the deck. Then we have this for fixing as well. And we'll use the Simulacrum to grab the 1 forest for Radha. I guess we'll put 2 forests in there. And then this is the deck. There are 13 white symbols, 11 red symbols, and 1 green symbol. So we're going to put in 2 forests. And then we'll have 1 more plains, then mountain for 7 plains and 6 mountains. Alright, here is 7 plains, 6 mountains, 2 forests for 16 lands. This is going to be the deck. Let me know what you thought about the opening of the deck build. And if you have any constructive feedback, I'd happily take that in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of my videos, you can hit subscribe. This is Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. If you made it to the end of this video, I will note that this code I could not redeem because you can only redeem one per account. And so if you want to use it, go ahead. First come, first served.